because we are waiting for someone to validate us. Or we are waiting for someone to say, this is who we are. But the universe is waiting for us to tell it who we are.
Amen.
In the moment that we say, I am, the universe begins to listen. And anything after that, the universe just simply says, and so it is. And so it is. So you could learn only one thing from me and this place, I would have you take away that thing. That I am is the most important thing that you can ever know. So whenever anybody says anything to you, that you would look them boldly in the face and return to them, I am magnificent.
Amen.
I am creative.
Yes.
I am boldly wonderful. I am a creative consciousness of the divine. I am brilliantly bold. I am a child of the divine, and no one has the right to speak to me in that manner. Because every time we allow anyone outside of us to diminish us, it is not them that does it. It is us, because we allow them permission to do so.
Yes.
Do we understand this?
Yes.
And so the moment that we allow someone into our life to diminish or demean us, it is not them that does it. It is us, because we give them permission to walk through the door of our life and do it to us. This last year, I have gained so much knowledge and beauty and brilliance because of this journey. I have watched friends that I have walked with in the last 9 years who have changed their lives and taken their power in their lives in such a way that I could not be more proud, because they have recognized who they are in the world.
Yes.
Who at one time did not have a voice in the world. Who has literally stood up to people and said, I know who I am today. And I refuse to have anyone speak to me in this manner. And from this point forward, going forward, I am this person. I am who I know I am. And at this point going forward, I will no longer tolerate this kind of behavior.
Yes.
So this is what I want us to understand. Once we recognize who we are, once we have the integrity, and once we know who we are, we can no longer go back. We can no longer step back to a naivete that will allow us, first of all, to diminish ourselves.
Yes.
And secondly, have anyone in our lives who will diminish us from that point going forward. So can we all recognize one more time, I see the divine in you.
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 Oh yes, I see the divine in you.
I see the divine in you.
Because when we see the divine in each other, that simply means one great thing. Once I see the divine in you, that means I have to see it in myself.
Yes.
Because when I recognize it in you, I can no longer walk around pretending that it is not in me. Because when I see the divine in you, it means I recognize the reflection in you, in myself. So let us not pretend for a moment that we are not going around recognizing a reflection in each other because it is reflected from ourselves. Because when we see something, it is always because it is a reflection in ourselves. When you step to a mirror, what is it that you see?
A reflection.
It is a reflection. If you were not there, would you see anything? Only in the movies, thank you. But oftentimes we want to play as if we are not present when we see things in the mirror. And oftentimes when we step in front of the mirror, what do we often like to do? Criticize, demean, and lessen what we see there. And that is because we are truly not in love with what we see when we step there. And that is what we must begin to work on. Because if we step to the mirror and we look at anything there as less than perfection, less than a masterpiece, less than the divine, that is the moment that we must heal what we are looking at. Because that image that we see looking at us at that moment is the divine itself. It took me a lifetime to figure that out. I searched through temples and mosques and in the nature itself, everywhere I looked, in the whole entirety of the universe, for the divine, for God, for Allah, for everything you want to call it. And I realized, finally, because the universe said, go to the mirror and seek me there. Because that is where you're going to find me. Looking back at you. Oftentimes we go everywhere in seek of something that is not out there. It is here within us at all times. We are made up of stardust, of the very creation of all things. Why then? Why then, if we are made up of the very creation of all things, would we not be the very creation itself? And if that is so, if that itself is so, then why are we not one with it? So why are we constantly demeaning or lessening who we are and what we are a part of? We are one with everything that has ever been. So as we step out of this place into what is next for us, let us recognize that there is nothing in the entirety of all things that we are not part of. So from this point forward, no matter what you see, recognize it is simply a reflection. A reflection. If you don't like it, what in you do you need to change in order for that to go away? Because as soon as you heal it, I promise you one thing, it will go away.
Yes.
And if you like it and if you love it, simply look at yourself and say, that sure does look good. What's that? Exactly. So today, what is it that I want you to know? What is the final thing that the divine wishes to express that only you can be expressed in this moment? It is that you are the most magnificent and beautiful thing in all of eternity and all of entirety. Never forget that. Never forget that. You will run into plenty of people who will try to tell you something different. But let me remind you of one thing. if that were true, why are you one of a kind?
Yes.
If you were not extraordinary, if you were not magnificent, if you were not to be the most wonderful thing in the universe, then why are there not hundreds just like you? But you are a masterpiece.
Yes.
Because after you, the mold was broken. Because there was no way that that perfection could ever be replicated again. Even if you are a twin, I said an identical twin, there is a difference. I don't care what it is, there is a difference. Because you are so magnificent that there has to be something, some minute difference, because there is only one of you in all of existence. And this is why. Pay attention. There is something in this universe that only you and you alone can do with your highest and best in the world, in all of entirety. And my question for you is, are you doing it? What is your destiny? What is your purpose? I'm going to share with you what my purpose is. My purpose is to live life so boldly that it frees everyone to live the lives they have always dreamed of living. That's my purpose. Is to live life so boldly that it frees everyone to live the life they dreamed of living. Do you understand that? That's my purpose. And that is what I've been doing all of my life, is to live so boldly that it frees everyone. So everyone that comes into my life, it is my intent to love so boldly that it frees them all. That's my intent. So when I meet people in my office, when I talk to people, how can I free you? How can I free you? How can I free you? So when I talk to you, it's my intent. I want to help free you. So I'm going to love you to my highest intent. I'm going to love you absolutely so that I can love you without condition. Not what do I get back, not to what are you going to give me in return, none of that crap. I'm going to love you unconsciously, without condition, so that you can have freedom.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that you can live the life that you have always dreamed of living. Now, isn't that something? Now, that's my purpose. And it is my goal to live that till the day I can no longer take breath.
Amen.
What's yours? What's yours? Because when you come into my presence, that is my goal with you. Nothing else. And if I get out of integrity to that, I've asked the universe to help bring me back to that. Guess why we're here today? The universe is helping me bring me back to that purpose. The universe will always support you no matter what you're doing. So we can all be sad, we can all have our emotions today, but the universe will always support us in doing what we're supposed to be doing. And today, the universe is helping me bring me back to my purpose, which is to boldly love so that everyone can be free.
Amen.
All right. Okay? So today I want to know what all of the purposes are and how we can boldly live and love to get us there. We had an opening, and now we're going to close. In order to begin anything new, we have to have closure. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just finished my third book, and it is currently being edited. And, yes, you did. I would like to read you a portion of one of the chapters, and then we're going to go into the next part. it says, what do you do? I beg your pardon. What do we then do when we must dismantle it and move in a new direction? For the longest time, I thought that when we were, I thought that we were to go on we were to carry on loving in the same way. Change nothing, living the way we had as if nothing had changed. I love you and you love me, no matter the time and distance of our new lives, and life would be one big happy family until it isn't. You have 13 cats, and even though the thought of having a cat to me is utterly appalling, sorry about that, we will be great. You live on one continent and I live on another, or maybe you live on one coast and I live on the other. How do I let go of love? Love will always want us to grow, evolve, leave the nest, believe in yourself, know that you are supported in love, never look back because the answer is not there, follow your heart, your inner wisdom. Most often we get stuck trying to hold on to what we have and grab what we want. We can't have both. If your arms are holding on to what you have no room for what you want. You need to decide before you can move forward. You need to go back to the previous steps and clear the way for what you want now. Please understand me. I'm not speaking about affection. I am talking about when a life situation changes in our lives, in the lives we love, we can find ourselves in love with each other, yet life has rearranged the placement, and you understand that one or both of you needs to leave the nest so that you can live to the fullest potential. And then it goes on to talk about that sometimes when we love each other, we have to actually leave the nest, and when we have to leave the nest, it pushes us forward. And how do we do that? And we have to do that by having a closure. And the way we have a closure is actually by having a closing ceremony. And one of the things that I did with one of my friends, and it's explained in the book, is having an actual closing ceremony. And in the closing ceremony, we actually shared what it is we loved about the process. What do we love about the journey that we had with each other? And we shared with each other what was the joys, what were the milestones, what were the loves we had with each other along the way. And that's what I'd like to do for a few moments, is just have a moment of what were the aha moments? What were the best bits that we shared with each other along the way? They can be a sad moment, they can be a happy moment, they can be a, oh, that hurt, whatever the moments were. Because what I want us to understand at this moment is, this is the last moment we're going to be this group of people together in one space as a unit. And we all have to understand that. Now, we're always going to be a part of people that is going to be forever the Amor Spiritual Center. Do we understand that?
Yes.
But from this point forward, we are no longer going to be the Amor Spiritual Center, because the building is going to close. We're all going to go our respective ways. Can we understand that?
Yes.
So in order to have closure, we must close what was so we can build what will be. Because as we live this building, we are going to be something different than what we have been.
Yes.
And in order to do that, we need to have closure about what was so we can move into what will be. Because what I just said in the book, we can't hold on to what was and have what will be.
Right.
So we have to let go of one so we can have what, we can pick up the new thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because oftentimes what we want to do is we want to hold on to the old relationship and pick up the new relationship too. And as my favorite saying goes, sweet pea, you can't buy two asses at the same time. So at this moment, what I want us to do is I want us to talk about what was, all the beauty and the love of it, so that when the time comes, when we walk the labyrinth, we can let it go. Because it was beautiful. It was vibrant. It was lovely. But just like the time on the hill for your meditation, we're going to have to let it go so we can taste that strawberry. And we can walk boldly into the new light. Because if we don't, it is going to cause us tremendous grief and tremendous hurt. And what it means is we're going to be anchored to a hurt that we don't need to be. And as Reverend Patricia will tell us all, when we don't let go of grief and we don't fully embrace it and allow it to feel it and to actually have the emotions, we remain stuck in a pain that will not go away. Do you understand me?
Yes.
So now is the time for us to have whatever emotions we need to have and just talk it out. We have tissues up here. There's one request I will ask them. When somebody's having the emotion, if they're crying, please let them cry. Don't try to comfort them. Don't try to hold their hand unless they reach out and want you to hold their hand. Please let them cry. Because oftentimes we try to slow people down or try to get them to stop or try to, there, precious, there. And all it does is make people stop their emotions. Please let them cry. Everybody needs to cry. It's a beautiful emotion. It's such a beautiful emotion. And it scares most of us to death. Because it means we have to touch our own emotions, bless our heart, and we just don't want to do that. So I ask this, can we all just agree we're going to be with our emotions today?
Yes.
I am willing to be with my emotions.
I am willing to be with my emotions.
Hallelujah. Who would like to start first?
I